Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 20th meeting of the West Rock Hill Township Supervisors. And I will first get to our first order of business, which is called order and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our first order of business for the night is to ask for public comment on the items on the agenda. We have 12, usually 13 items on the agenda. If anybody has any comment on agenda items as of right now, if you want to speak, please let us know. Please stand up, announce your name, and we'll listen to you for now. No one standing. We get to the next one, which are announcements. I don't have any. Greg, do we have any?
We will have an executive session afterwards to talk about real estate.
Okay, and then we move into number 3, which is the consent agenda. I'll turn it over to Mr. Lippincott.
Before the board acts, I would recommend that we pull the WIN plot plan review status and put it down under the engineer's report. Other than that, it is the meeting minutes, escrow release and vouchers, emergency services report, building and zoning report, public works report, conservation committee report, Red Oak Way street name approval, plans for signature after the meeting, which are up front on the table, and the treasurer's report, which I will read. The general fund balance is $946,027.29. Highway 8, $25,312.65. Open space, $1,287,417.12. The park fund, $50,308.82. The equipment fund, $14,348.56. Highway capital, $139.03. Street light, $36,466.93. Reserve, general fund reserve, $485,522.45. The American Rescue Plan Fund, $527,583.32. Open space Vanderfield, $41,646.58. The Sewage Maintenance Fund, $206,806.04. The Stormwater Fund, $12,624.16. And the escrow funds, $2,495,371.12. And also the payment of the bills.
All right, thank you. I will move for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we get to confirmed appointments. We had Mr. Durstein, but I believe that Mr. Durstein has rescinded the request, so we move on to committee reports. Next committee report actually comes from Planning Commission, Mr. Durstein.
Actually, it'll be Mr. Almer. I was not at the Planning Commission meeting.
How you doing, Alex?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to start out by saying we were graced with
To the microphone.
We have plenty of mics, but only that one really picks you up.
I was just going to say we were graced with
It's on.
Yep.
Now go to volume.
Yep. Where a button?
Yes. We'll get it. Bear with us.
That one.
Hit it
It's on.
again.
There you go.
just want to say we were graced with an incredible public attendance. In my tenure, there's probably as many or more than I've ever seen, so we're happy about that. All PC members were present in attendance, including the alternate with the exception of Chris Durstein. We considered 4 projects. The first was the Kazuki land development. They requested a waiver for 1220 Bethlehem Pike, seeking to avoid land development process, which we recommended. The project involves the construction of a garage, to house the owner's car collection on an existing residential property in PC2 district. The house will continue to be occupied by a tenant. Steve pointed out that waiving of land development will also waive the need for street improvement or an in lieu of fund. I can't recall if this is incorporated in the waiver or not, but it's something to consider. Rich Hill Road subdivision is a subdivision proposed for properties around the Adelphia pumping station. There were a few legal questions that arose during our review. The first is that the Supreme Court had recently heard arguments regarding the DEP's air permit and whether that took primacy over FERC's rulings on this. And we were hesitant to approve anything related to that project while that decision was going on without some direction from Mary on it. The other piece of that was they were proposing to cede some portion of the land in West Rock Hill Township to Richland Township as part of this. And again, we were not comfortable with that until we had some input from Mary on that one. Then we had the Holiday House Road sketch plan. This is a select properties project that was considering a 30-unit age-restricted community on 8.2 acres off of Holiday House Road. The PC had several reservations, or has seen several variations on this theme, but the issue of an overly long cul-de-sac was probably our biggest one, and emergency access down to that area. Those issues really couldn't be developed or couldn't be addressed by the developer. The developer did say they were viewing this as a parking lot with a one-way in and a one-way out, and that all the internal roadways or paving would just be considered parking area. Planning Commission didn't necessarily agree with that, and the two entrances were about 75, 90 feet apart, but both onto Holiday House Road. There was no clear proposal for how emergency access to the community would be provided. PC shared their thoughts with the developer. There was also the question raised of sewer capacity. If they developed that property, would there be sufficient capacity upstream on Washington Lane to serve those homes if they were ever in need of connecting the sewer? Next one was another select properties. This is the Forest Road annexation. This project was a simple land swap between two existing lots involving about 2.2 acres. There's no development proposed. It was obvious to the Planning Commission that the land swap was to provide sufficient room to get cul-de-sacs on both of these lots, one of which had been before the Planning Commission previously, at which point we had requested that the developer provide a master plan showing how a number of subdivisions he was proposing would tie together and how public sewer would be provided to all of those, because they're in areas that are not currently provided by public sewer. Therefore, we rejected the waivers there. We voted to recommend rejecting the waivers they requested, and we also rejected the plan at this time, pending seeing something else from the developer with regard to the master plan for that area. Any questions?
I think you did a very good job. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
I don't have any
Mr.
questions.
Chairman, I have a question. On the Adelphia project, early in the project, their attorney contacted me about a question of interpretation with a road dividing a lot, whether or not that was one lot or two lots. And I drafted an agreement that he said his client would be willing to sign that would state that, like, we will interpret it as being two separate lots so that no subdivision was necessary, but they couldn't come back later then and build anything substantive on that lot.
Right.
Or argue that we condemned the property by that interpretation. Have they mentioned that agreement or that situation?
They did not, and I think that piece on the other side was going to be one standalone piece, but then they were looking to work with the lot lines for the piece on the other side of the road and another lot they had on that side.
All right, I just think we have to just keep that in mind. There is an agreement, and I'll make sure Greg gets a copy.
Yeah, that did come up during the meeting. That was yeah, as Mary indicated, the agreement to protect the township should that lot not be developable.
Okay.
At least we didn't talk about it in depth, but it was mentioned, and the representative that was here had no objection to the agreement.
All right, I don't want to see that fall through the cracks.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members?
I'll make a motion, we accept the planning commission report as presented.
Second. Good job. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Actually realized that for number 3, under emergency services, I forgot the usual thank you to Sellersville, Telford, Trumbarsville, and Towsport for the fire companies providing service. Just want to quick put that back in because we want to make sure that we remind everybody, if you're looking at volunteering, please reach out to them. But back to the normal schedule. We next have the Park and Rec, Mr. Dave Rice.
All right, everyone loves the Park and Rec. We got grounds.
All these doors.
We have great events. I mean,
All these volunteers. All these
exactly.
guys.
No, actually, I think we have 2 more new members coming on board, so fingers crossed. April 13th, we've got the fishing derby coming up, 9 to noon over James Memorial Park. It's for anybody through the ages of 12. It's a great day. I mean, it's our 13th annual fishing derby. We have a good time. There's a lot of fish after the derby, so it's open after 12 o'clock to anybody that has a fishing license. We get about 435, 440 fish, trout, 14 to 16 inches. Some bigger ones close to 16 to 20 inches. And then a couple, I think there's 3 big ones that we have that are over 20 inches. So a lot of big trout out there. We have a fillet guy, Glenn Rice. He's awesome. He'll fillet them for you free of charge, bag them up. So it's an awesome day there. And that's April 13th, so that's coming up soon. April 27th from 10 to 1, we have we're in cooperation with the Liberty Girls, the Girl Scouts Arbor Day event. So they're fundraising to plant some trees in our park. So we're kind of working together where they're fundraising. If they can, we have 3 trees that we're going to be planting on the top side, the top parking lot, or the top walking path. I guess on the top, the closest side to where we always have the inflatables at September Fest. So it's on that side of the parking, or the keepsake parking lot.
Walking path.
Walking path, yeah. I get it straight. So that's April 27th, 10 to 1. It's a nice day. We're going to cross our fingers. It's going to be nice all year this year. September Fest, put it on your calendar. It's the biggest event of the year, noon to 4. I heard rumors that Ferris from the Iron Pigs is going to be there again this year, so just saying. It's a great event. It's free for everybody, minus the food. It's a free event. It's great. Everybody, stop by. It's from noon to 4, just across the street, so it's not far. And our feature film and fire is October 12th. And we don't have a movie yet. We'll figure that out. And the time usually right around dusk. So we get set up and we have the feature film and fire. That's October 12th. And that is all I have this year.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rice. Thank you to all. I see a couple of volunteers and a couple of the entertainment in the audience. So thanks everybody for their dedication.
Thank you, David.
Yep, thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept this report as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we come to Penridge Police.
Before you do that, for the people in the back, we do have seats up front. Anyone standing that wants to come up.
Every other side, move in and let the guys sit. Once, twice. Yep, chief.
All right, good evening. I have the February 2024 activity report for the Penridge Regional Police Department. In the month of February, we responded to 694 calls for service. Of those calls, 283 were in East Rock Hill Township. The remaining 404 were in West Rock Hill Township, with 7 calls assisting our neighboring agencies. The department handled 21 traffic crashes. Of those crashes, 12 were reportable, 9 were non-reportable, with 11 occurring in East Rock Hill Township and 10 occurring here in West Rock Hill Township. Our criminal activity for the month of February, we had 16 crimes against property, 2 crimes against persons, 3 crimes against society, and a total of 6 Group B offenses. Those reported crimes include, in East Rock Hill Township, a DUI crash, a burglary, reported with disturbance, 4 drug complaints, 2 fraud complaints, a theft complaint, 2 trespassing complaints, and a weapons offense. In West Rock Hill Township reported crimes, we had 1 hit-and-run accident, 1 report of an aggravated assault, 3 burglaries were reported, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 domestic, 1 DUI, 2 frauds, 1 harassment complaint, 5 complaints of theft, and 1 complaint of trespassing. Criminal charges that were filed in the month of February. We had 3 charges of drug possession, 4 charges of drug paraphernalia, 6 charges of DUI were filed, 1 charge of compulsion of a missile on a roadway, trespassing, 3 complaints of that, 4 complaints of harassment, 1 aggravated assault arrest, 2 charges of simple assault, 1 charge of criminal mischief, 2 charges of disorderly conduct, 1 theft from a vehicle charge, 2 charges of receiving stolen property, 1 charge of possession of a weapon on school property, a charge of hit and run, and we also charged theft by deception, for a total of 33 charges in the month of February. Our other police activities, we had 197 traffic enforcement details, issued 63 citations, and 90 traffic warnings. Conducted 22 school checks, 135 park checks. Officers attended 131 hours of training. So far for the year, the last 2 months, we responded to 1,477 calls for service, handled 53 traffic crashes, 57 offenses were reported, filed 105 criminal charges, and officers participated or attended 167 hours of training. And that is your February 2024 activity report.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief?
I have no questions. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is the Park and Rec, next up is the Joint Rec Commission, which is actually going to be given by me. So as chairman, I will quickly yield to Jay as vice chair while I give the minutes. So hopefully my voice will last through this, because we have some fairly long minutes. We do have the minutes of the Joint Rec Authority as part of the record, but this is actually the report. Thank you, Mr. Krauthamel. We did have a couple of fundraisers, but I'm just going to quickly read through the report. Hopefully we'll make it through without losing the voice. Regular monthly meeting of the West Rock Hill Sozol Joint Rec Authority was held on Wednesday, March 6, 2024 at 7 p.m. Included Don Krauthamel, Shermer, Ms. Lynn Saylor, Tony Buck was absent due to vacation. Minutes of the February meeting were approved, as was the February financial report. First item on the agenda was continuation of the discussion with Mr. Grant representing Real Pro Enterprises. First matter discussed was that after due consideration, the Joint Rec Authority was inclined to not reenact the previous agreement reported in 2018 as to sewer capacity. The board explained the reasons behind the decision and those considerations under which they considered a new agreement. Mr. Grant expressed his disagreement. It should be noticed the meeting was attended by about 40 to 50 local residents who expressed opposition to the proposed development at Holiday House. We had a long discussion, and one of the concerns, summarizing, one of the concerns from the Joint Rec Authority was that this was initially an easement to connect 2 houses to the existing sewer system, and the new proposal is 30 houses to the same sewer system, which is 50 years old. We did have a presentation by Danny Collins of Delaware Valley Day Camp, and I will read this full. This organization is interested in partnering with Holiday House to run a day camp from the grounds of Holiday House. The camp would be like those which Mr. Collins and his partner run in Flowertown and Harleysville. Briefly stated, the camp would use the entire tract of land around the pool to provide various activities for its campers. Use of the pool would be integrated into their program for recreational swimming and swimming lessons. The activities available at the Harleysville camp include field hockey, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, archery, crafts, and others. It is assumed the same activities would be provided at the proposed camp at Holiday House. The benefits claimed by Mr. Collins are that the pool will enjoy a higher level of attendance, enhanced image, and a share of the total revenue brought in by the camp. The audience were very favorable to the discussion. The board stated it would give further consideration, but we are very happy to have somebody who's interested in actually working with Holiday House to bring a full-time day camp in. I think I still have, we had multiple copies of the presentation. I believe I did grab 2 copies in 2 folders for my other two supervisors to review at their leisure. I'll hand them out afterwards. Old business, we got back to swim badges as opposed to the photo ID. We're still working on the question of trying to find a way. There was concern from last year that people were just handing out the little badges with a number and getting a photo ID badge. So I was like, that's not you, because sometimes we have, I'm not going to school, I'm not going to the pool right now. I'm going to hand this over to my friend, nephew, neighbor, whoever, and we were concerned that we might be losing some income from people sharing tags because we don't have a photo ID on the tag to figure out who is who. The pool staff organization for 2024 was discussed. We're going to have 1 pool manager, 1 assistant manager, head lifeguards, and 2 levels lifeguards experienced and new, with the payment to follow. Sliding board, we're working on getting the newest sliding board. Last year we got a sliding board, but it was not actually approved for commercial use, so we are going to be, we have the old sliding board up for market, and we are looking into getting a new sliding board to fit in. Swim lessons, motion was made and approved to initially have our swimming lessons to a single session, 8 lessons, 2 weeks, between 11 and 11:45, Monday through Thursday. Pricing will be $100 for group lessons, $200 for private individual lessons. The date of the sessions is going to be determined. We actually have a provisional schedule up, but we have not yet gotten a chance to approve that. We're looking at replacing the water fountain between the main section of the guard room and the filter house. That's going to be, because it's going to be a commercial and public water fountain, we're looking at about $7,400 for replacing the water fountain. This is too much to spend, so we're going to be pushing that off and hoping that the current one doesn't break in half sometime during the year. We're going to work through this and see if we can find another more effective financial workaround to have a water fountain at the pool. We are working on sponsor memberships. We have a couple of companies we're working through for sponsorship. Not that much different from what the Penridge Little League has for sponsorship, where you get a plaque, you get information, you get notices. We mention you throughout the day. We have the possibility of having events for a discount, having exclusive use of the pool after hours for an event for those businesses which want to come out and help support Holiday House. And we've had a fair amount of interest in that. For the snack stand, we have since now agreed to partner with the Hickory Stick from Percy and also down in Hilltown. I'm sounding old, across from Dombrowski's, which was, don't laugh. But in Hilltown, just west of Silverdale, the old schoolhouse, which is now the Hickory Stick location, which is across from a restaurant. So we are Hawkeyes, yeah. And there was another one before that in between, but we are going to be working with Hickory Stick. We're very happy to have. They're going to be providing a pretty good menu for us. They're locally owned. They're going to be coming in and providing the food service for the snack stand. And we have several kids who had been interested in coming in or all the kids who had been interested in working as lifeguards or as front office, we're pushing them over so that Hickory Stick can also talk to them, because we're trying to make sure that we keep everything local and put as much of the money back into the local businesses. We're looking at work opportunity credit. We have updated our job descriptions, and we have been working on certified pool operator certifications for several of the members. The members of the Sellersville Borough Road Crew have been on their way to getting their approval for pesticide application in order to take some of the burden off. Last year, we had Seth from West Rock Hill Township Public Works. When he wasn't available, we then went back over and were able to borrow some experience from Menlo Pool. So at this point, we are looking at having Salesboro's staff also co-licensed for applications so that they can also take over and fill in. We had Celtic Fest. We came out in last Saturday, had a huge turnout. I will actually halt, and if it's okay with you guys, ask for information because I didn't do the tallying. I know that somebody in the audience here has tallies. If
17,000, yeah.
We made $1,778.
Nice.
Good.
okay, so that was one day for what, 4 hours, 5 hours?
5 hours.
Okay, and we had, Celtic Fest had several thousand, I grew up as a little kid helping out at the Grandview Hospital Lawn Fete. My job was to count people. My guess is probably 2,000, 3,500 people went through there for the day. It was a beautiful day, well packed, and we got a ton of people interested, a ton of people signed up, a ton of interest. We also want to thank AT&T for their donation, which we are looking at, which was AT&T actually donated the slide initially. We were working with them and thanking them for the donation while we transitioned from getting the old slide, which we couldn't use, and then getting a new slide, which we can use. We are also looking at a sponsorship award to Mr. Davenport. Mr. West Davenport did a lot of tree work. As everybody knows, we have the ash borer, so a lot of you guys have ash trees which are sitting there hanging dead. We're thanking Mr. Davenport because he charged us $1,000 for doing a heck of a lot of work, so we are going to be considering him as one of the sponsors for Holiday House Pool and thanking them for the work that they did, helping us out by getting rid of some widowmakers and hangers. The first work day is actually coming up this Saturday, which is going to be March 23rd. We're going to be having people coming out to help rake up, clean up. I forgot to bring it, but I have two or three packs of gloves to donate to Holiday House on behalf of myself as the chairman for the supervisors, and I'll be out there with the little Toro blower, Echo blower, snow blower, weed whacker, and a couple of other things. I'll bring a couple of the other tarps and everything else, but we're looking for anybody else who's interested in having some volunteer hours. I know that I think my sister is going to be volunteering my nephew because he needs volunteer credits as part of high school, but anybody's looking for volunteer hours for their kids, for high school, for work. We are going to be having a work day on this Saturday, going through cleaning up leaves, straightening up the place, moving stuff around.
From what time?
9 o'clock to 3.
Yeah, 9 o'clock to 3. And I missed something?
Yeah, I might want to add that the weather looks really iffy for Saturday. Right now, it's about, I think, 75–85% chance of rain. So tomorrow, I'll look at it again. It'll probably be postponed to April 6th. The following week is Easter weekend, so we'll probably postpone it until April 6th. That's the first Saturday in April.
Are we for sure, or are we gonna put it on the Holiday House page so people can look at it?
I've already talked to Emily to make sure that it goes on that, and I'll be sending out a distribution to all of the volunteers.
Don, was it planned for Saturday and Sunday, or just Saturday?
Just Saturday.
Just Saturday.
Yeah.
So just Saturday, and if it rains, then next Saturday.
Yeah, it was 9 to 3 was what it was scheduled for.
No, the
Okay.
following
Two Saturdays.
So
April
2
6th.
Saturdays.
2 Saturdays,
And
the
not
6th.
Easter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, not Easter. Okay, and we have a quick note. The following bills are approved for payment for the board. Label Craft for $205, Bucks County Board of Health $390, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania $180, PP&L we're down to $57.53, Steyer Associates $150, and ESI $29.22. We had a huge amount of public comment. We had a lot of people who then came up and voiced support for the pool after the Joint Rec Authority meeting. We have a lot of people who then came out and volunteered for the work. for the work day, bringing out, essentially making sure that they would be out there to help out for the pool. We have had extremely great success with our outreach for the Dine and Donates. If I can move back to the audience, what are we up to now?
We just counted them, like 10 Dine and Donuts total?
Yeah, we have 5 more to do.
Okay, and we've got,
Possibly 6, yeah.
and we've had hundreds of people coming out for the Dine and Donates, and we've made several $1,000s, which is a huge increase over what we've had over the last, any time before the last 2-3 years. That's essentially the end of my report, if there are any questions.
I do, Hal, first of all, it sounds very promising. The 2 things, the Delaware Valley Day Camp, that's not this year, that's for next year, right?
Correct, that is a proposal for next year.
Okay. And the second question, how are we doing with lifeguards?
Lifeguards, I believe, we're full. I'll defer to Don, who's been, we did interview with the lifeguards. We have a manager, we interviewed the assistant manager, and for lifeguards, I believe we're good, but I'll defer to Mr. Krauthamel, who's actually signing.
And we have approximately 27 lifeguards that have expressed interest and have either been hired or still have to take their Red Cross certification. So even if a couple of those don't pass the Red Cross certification, we would expect to have at least 22, 24, 25 lifeguards, which is certainly more than last year.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have one, I just want a clarification on it. You mentioned a fountain. Is that a drinking fountain or shooting up?
The drinking fountain.
$7,500 for a drinking fountain?
Yep.
Can I ask you,
Are you nuts? Yes.
No. No, because I don't know a whole lot of people that drink out of public fountains anymore. Have you ever considered selling bottled water?
We actually have gone through the looking at getting vending machines, bottled water. We have another fountain on the backside.
Okay.
The problem is this is the fountain which is closest to the front, which is when you walk, if you've been there, you walk through the gate, you walk off to the right, and you've got the little kiddie wading pool, you got the display ground, and that's the fountain that's there, which is cracked in half, has been mounted back up. But that was the cost, and that was actually fairly cheap for municipal fountains, which is why, if I remember, about 10 years ago, West Rock Hill took the fountain out from the park because it was just ridiculous for the amount of money that we're looking at. But we already have one. We do have a second fountain on the back side by the diving boards, which is there and available. So while we're looking for a more cost-effective situation, we can afford to shut down one and just have people walk over to the other, or get something from Hickory Stick, or just go fill up your water bottle from inside from the regular faucet.
Now, I can provide an update if you'd like to hear it.
If you will, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. First off, one of the things we need there, that particular fountain has a hose bib on it, which is used heavily for cleaning, washing the pool deck, that sort of thing. The fountain does get a lot of usage. We had discussed in a meeting doing away with it, and there were a number of people that expressed concern. Third, I believe there may be a state regulation that you have to have a fountain there. But the bottom line is, we talked to our plumber. He felt that we could repair the fountain, stabilize it by putting a stainless steel band around it and clamping it to hold it in place. Everybody agrees that we do not want to spend $7,400 this year on a fountain. So that's what I think we would probably end up doing.
Okay, I don't have any other questions, Al, thanks.
All right.
Hey, Jay, can I ask you a question of Hal? Where are the Dine and Donate?
Excuse me, can you
yes.
please identify yourself?
I can. I'm Chris Sturstein, Old Bethlehem Pike.
And if you want to be heard, you have to go to the mic. Or the sound system doesn't pick it out.
Get away with it.
That close to a clean getaway.
I know.
Just now.
So Hal, the Dine and Donate times and dates, where are they posted?
Those are posted on the Holiday House Facebook page, and give me 5 seconds and we'll have the answers from our coordinator.
You don't have
You want to know the future ones?
Yeah, or,
Just where
I mean, for
fun.
the general public to know where they can find
They're
out
on
when
the
and where
Holiday
they are.
House website, and they're also on Facebook, and they're also shared on the Sellersville Community and Percy Community website, Facebook pages.
Okay, thank you.
And the next one coming up is,
Rita's in Quakertown, April 4th.
Okay.
and we've had
5 to 9.
and we've had great turnout, so we do need to thank the horse, we need to thank JT Bankers, because we've had a great turnout from both of them, and a lot more funding than we expected.
Good. That's all I have. Thank you. All right, I would make a motion to accept Hal's report as presented.
I would second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next we get to tax collector Suzanne. Not here, so somewhere in the Bahamas, I guess.
I don't know. It's already Tuesday.
She's drinking a beer she wants. Alcohol, yeah.
They, for the month of February, Suzanne collected $86.48.
And we next get to engineering.
Make a motion to approve the.
I will second the motion. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we get to our engineer, Mr. Bob.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first item on the agenda was the Kaziki Land Development Waiver Request. I believe we have a representative here tonight.
Hi everyone, thanks for having us. My name is Stephen Hippoff. I'm with Cowan Associates, the engineer representing Darius. So the property's at 1220 Bethlehem Pike. We're proposing a 50 by 145 square foot building to house some Darius's personal vehicles. We had previously gotten a approved lot consolidation plan. Now we're requesting a waiver from land development.
Just to I guess for an example, we had a similar situation right down the street with Rock Hill Auto, where a little bit different. That was a family member of the owners of the property wanted a storage building for collectors' vehicles, and that's what Mr. Kazicki is planning to do on this property. He owns the property as a rental residence on the property, and he's going to install this building for his own vehicle use. So we did have a review dated March 7th, 2024. With a few comments. I believe at the Planning Commission you agreed to all the conditions, or to address all the conditions in the March 7th letter. And the one, just the one condition that I'd like to highlight is that the property owner agreed to an agreement or restriction on the property for the use of the building. So if it were to ever be converted to a commercial use, that he would have to return to the township for approval.
One thing I wanted to point out here, this isn't a commercial district, as you know. That's a big concern, because this could be turned into commercial very easily without anybody knowing about it. So whatever wording that you put in place, I think is important.
Right, well, we work with the township solicitor to
Okay.
establish that
Very good.
restriction.
Thank you.
So the planning commission did recommend a waiver of land development, subject to compliance with the comments in the March 7th, 2024 letter, including a restriction on the use of the property.
So what you're saying, Steve, you're totally okay with everything on this thing?
Yes, I think your solicitor might have a question though.
No, well, I have two questions. The first question is whether or not there's a PSA on this project, or if we need to put a condition that they pay all costs and expenses of the township.
There is a PSA.
And that covers all the way through the approval thing. And the second is, would the board prefer to make a motion tonight and have this memorialized via action letter, or do you want a resolution so you can see the conditions in the resolution that you're adopting at next month's meeting? That's your call.
I'm comfortable with just moving forward tonight. I don't think we need that much detail. I think it's pretty straight.
If Steve's comfortable and we have the wording right, I'm comfortable as well.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion. I want to see that Volvo 1800 on the roof.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the second item I would have is what was mentioned earlier, the plan review status memo was moved from the consent agenda to my agenda, and that is because there was a action item on the agenda, which was the Select Properties Lawn Avenue subdivision, LD 637. The plan.
Just for clarity, which Lawn Avenue?
637.
Yeah, it's LD 637. It's the large property between Lawn Avenue and Mountain View Road, the 75 lot. Varies depending on which version you look at, but the 75 lot subdivision between Ridge and Forest Lawn.
North side of the ridge. Yep.
And Mountain View Road. The review period is running on this project. The applicant chose to not grant an extension. So at the Planning Commission meeting, they recommended denial of the plan based on non-compliance with the ordinances pursuant to the comments of our February 26th, 2024 review letter. It's an extensive list. I'll just indicate a few of the zoning items that were included on that list, which include non-compliance with some open space issues related to identification of open space and their compliance with the ordinance. And also zoning regulations related to the village zoning district and design standards. Beyond that, there was numerous subdivision ordinance issues.
And stormwater management ordinance.
Stormwater management ordinance, correct.
Given that there's no extension granted in this project, if we don't act tonight, there's a potential for a deemed approval. So if you're inclined, the appropriate motion would be to recommend denial of the plan based on the items set forth in the engineering review letter of February 26, 2024.
Okay.
And based on that, I will recommend, I will move to deny based on the problems with the engineer's review letter.
So you're making that a motion?
I'm making that a motion.
Okay. I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, yes. I just wanted to be sure we had it right.
And that's all I have. Well, let me make one comment. Last month, I said we would have.
Before you go on,
I'm sorry.
can we stick with that project?
Certainly.
There was a waiver request letter.
Yes.
Would you like to make a motion to deny the waiver requested on the cul-de-sac lots in?
Yes, I should, sorry. I should also, I will therefore move to deny based on the cul-de-sac issue. Waiting for a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I'm sorry to interrupt, Steve.
Not a problem.
I was waiting to see if that was the same project, or?
Yep.
Correct?
It appears to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that, make sure that we're clear on that. Because there's four, I think this outfit has 4 separate projects going on in the township, or plans.
Actually, more than, yeah.
Yeah, 4 to 6.
4 to 6, yeah.
Okay,
Are you clear on that?
I'm clear on that.
Thanks.
So we're talking about, so, yeah, just make sure this is LD 639, which is the area, which is the old Navarro airfield between Lawn Avenue and...
637.
637, I'm sorry, 637. Which was the old Navarro airfield between Lawn Avenue and the larger section of Mountain View Road, north of Ridge.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess just to sum up what I was saying, last month I said we would have bids for the culvert replacement project. I goofed up the new pen bid system and it didn't get posted correctly, so I solved the problem, but I extended the bid date an extra 3 weeks, so all the contractors had adequate time to get information in. So it's right now we'll get the bids at the first week in April, and we'll have them for next month's meeting.
Oh, thank you.
That's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
Yeah, since we approved the individual items, I don't think we need a motion for the full engineer's report.
I'm going to make one anyway, just to make it clear.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And our solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 items on the agenda this evening. The first is the cable franchise agreement. Every so often, we have to renew our cable franchise agreement with Comcast and with Verizon, but right now we're looking at Comcast agreement. And so, as part of that process, you adopt an ordinance adopting the franchise agreement. The franchise agreement is a thick agreement. The ordinance is a short ordinance. But before you can have a public hearing on the ordinance, the federal cable law requires that you hold a public hearing in which your residents have a chance to express any concerns they have with their cable television system. This used to be a big deal, and there would be a lot of people complaining that they got snow on Channel 44. Lately, cable television is more reliable than it was then, but the requirement to hold the hearing so that people can express concerns is still part of the Cable Act. So if you want to open a hearing and ask for public comment, generally on the cable system, that's the appropriate move at this point.
So do we have to schedule the hearing?
Oh, no, it's been advertised.
It's
You're
advertised.
going to open it up tonight.
Yep, well then, I will open up the hearing with regard to the cable franchise agreement having been previously advertised. If anyone has any concerns about renewing the franchise agreement with Comcast, please come forth. Please put up a hand. Going once, going twice. Seeing no one, I will close the hearing and we move forward.
All right, now you can open up a hearing on the ordinance that would extend the Comcast franchise in West Rock Hill Township for a period of 10 years, mostly under the same terms and conditions that you're used to. There's a 5% franchise fee that goes to the township that provides quite a bit of revenue, and that has not changed. There's one thing that we've got a large crowd, so I'll tell you there's customer service standards in here, in this franchise agreement that Comcast routinely ignores. And so sometime if you want to go online, if Greg's going to post it, take a look at what your rights are under the franchise agreement, so that if you have a problem with Comcast or a disagreement with Comcast, you have a better understanding of what your rights are. But if you want to take public comment on the ordinance itself.
In that case, I'll open up for public comment or hearing on passing an ordinance to renew the Comcast licensing for 10 years. Anyone?
Can price be one?
You can make that complaint that you think it costs too much money.
It's way too much.
Yes, why does it cost our children so much less to get cable, Comcast cable service than it costs us?
Well, anyway, you have to come forward and because if you speak from the back, we can't hear you.
This is for residents?
This is for the general license for Comcast to provide cable to the area, whether it's...
Yes, it is for residents.
Okay, so I've tried to get Comcast at my house and I can't get it there.
That's,
Identify.
Sorry, your name and address? So we-
Tim Luba, 603 Cat Hill Road.
Yeah, proceed, sorry.
I was just curious as to what this is about because I tried to get Comcast to come to my house. Right now I can only get Verizon. They said they could come to my house, but they would charge me a couple $1,000 to run lines out there. So I was just curious as to.
yeah, there's requirements in the franchise agreement for what they have to service, and there has to be, I think it's like 35 houses per linear mile to require them to service. I don't know where on Lonely Road wouldn't that require?
Cat Hill.
Cat Hill, I'm sorry.
You're up on the hill?
Pretty much.
You and the A-frame on top?
No, I think somebody else here is on there. But everybody that I know on Cat Hill has Verizon because we can't get.
All right, I'm gonna bring that to Comcast's attention. That's the point of having the hearing. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
quickly, roughly, where is 603?
Just east of 309, just as you get to the top of the hill.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Outside there. Yep.
Yep. Okay, we had one person, anybody, oh, shoot, 1.5 person, one comment from the background. Anyone else? Then I'll close testimony, close the hearing.
And then you're free to make a motion to vote on the ordinance. And it's ordinance.
It's number 248, I believe, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
248 of 20, motion.
I'll make that motion.
248 of 2024. I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the ordinance actually authorizes you to sign the franchise agreement, so I'm going to be passing down for your signatures, both the franchise agreement and the ordinance. The second item on the solicitor's report tonight is a tax rebate ordinance. This is something that you have been looking at for the past 2 months. And last month you authorized, 2 months ago you authorized me to draft it. Last month you authorized advertisement. And this is an ordinance which provides a program under which emergency services can have their service providers, people who volunteer for emergency service duty, can have their real estate taxes rebated. So if you are a fireman or an EMC, as long as you're a volunteer, you should probably get a copy of this ordinance and take a look at it. But you can open a public hearing on it.
I will then entertain or open up public hearing or open up public comment for anyone who wants to speak on the rebate for members of EMS, fire, ambulance. Seeing no hands, I will close. But I did want to make sure that we do thank all of our EMS from Somersville and Telford and Trumbarsville and Tylersport who come out. We have a couple of them who are in the township that this will directly help. And we also have other avenues for this, which are actually right out in the front. There's another version through the county, which also deals with rebates and helping to compensate or reimburse our EMS responders.
I think we should all appreciate him.
A while ago, I remember pointing out that one of the most important maps that nobody ever sees is the actual service map for where Sellersville covers, where Telford covers, where Trumbarsville covers, where Tylersport covers, which is one of the things that which I actually think is important for all the residents of West Rock Hill is, do you know which fire company covers your house? Because there's a map and most people have no idea which fire company covers what, covers who, covers where. So these are the guys you should thank when your neighbor's shed burns down and they show up. And hopefully didn't show up when anything else goes wrong. Having no other comment, we'll close that.
And this would be a motion to adopt ordinance 249.
Okay, so we move to go through to adopt ordinance 249.
I'd be happy to make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
That's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Solicitor.
I'll make a motion to accept the solicitor's report as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next up, we have our township manager's report from Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I only have one item. The township is seeking authorization from the Board of Supervisors to put out the bid the demolition of 2105 Twin Lows Road. It's a property we purchased almost a year ago.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
Second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Can we go back one to
Of course.
to answer this gentleman? The cable franchise agreement provides that they have to provide service if there's 25 dwelling units per linear mile or 50 dwelling unit per underground mile of cable. So,
You're still in contact.
oh, absolutely.
Okay, so next we are up to old business. I don't have any, but I'll wait for my other members if there's any old business.
Old business that I wanted to bring up was my concerns on Old Mill Road, which Steve has identified the bidding of the pipe culvert projects, which that would be probably part of it, right?
That's one of the alternates on the
So
bill.
I've had a lot of concerns regarding the condition of that road, and I think we need to do something about that.
We're also waiting for a response on the grant application that we did for
True.
Old Mill Road.
Okay. I've been through it when we've had these terrible rainstorms, and it's in pretty rough shape. So anyway, just wanted to bring it up again. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Collingwood, any? I'm good. Okay, and we get to new business. I don't have any to bring up right now.
I have nothing now.
Anything? Okay, so we're now to the end of the agenda, so we get to public comment. If anyone has any public comment on any of the issues that we have come up, you have a hand, please go up and state your name, address.
Hi, y'all. It's been a while. Christine Shelley on Whalen Road. I was here last week for the Planning Commission meeting, and I just wanted to restate my comments for y'all to hear. It's about the Adelphia project up there, and it was told to me back in 2018 when that whole thing started that this township never issued any permits, any waivers, and I just would like to ask that West Rock Hill Township continues on that path. Adelphia, it seems like they're doing things piecemeal, and they're not letting us know what their plan is, and they're doing things to benefit themselves and not our township. They have not been good neighbors. So I would like to see that West Rock Hill Township continue to not grant them any variances or exemptions or permits or waivers. One of our first major complaints regarding the compressor station was that they were building this thing on a 1.5 acre parcel, and when all of the current literature available regarding such a compressor station said that a minimum of 20 to 40 acres would be required for the operation of such a station. So then they bought out 2 of the neighbors, and we lost that part of our argument. And now they want to sell parts of it off. We're still in litigation with them. We won our first 3 court cases, and they continue to appeal. They say that the process is taking too long, but they are the ones who are appealing when we have actually won the first 3 cases. We just had our Pennsylvania Supreme Court case in Philadelphia. We won't know the results of that for a little while, but there's a chance that we will still have our day at the EHB. Regardless, it doesn't make any sense to allow them to further develop while we are still in litigation. The zoning up there as it is, I don't remember if it's residential, conservation, or agricultural. We live on what used to be a farm. There's a farm across the street. And then, of course, there's the environmental impacts. And we have to take that into consideration these days. All of this development is not good for our stressed and fragile ecosystem. We're destroying it. And I put my money where my mouth is. It's not a cheap endeavor to take these guys to court, as you all know. And we continue to fight. So I ask at the very least that no concessions be made until litigation has come to an end. It's not fair that they get to continue to build this thing when we might go back to the EHB, who could then alter the permit. It could still happen. That's what we're fighting for. West Rockland
Half minutes are up.
Sorry, okay. And just another comment that I like the idea of a water fountain at the pool. I do not drink out of plastic water bottles ever because they come from petroleum product. It's a petroleum product and it's bad for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. And just as background, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court does have a YouTube page, and if I remember, did make a point of watching the Supreme Court argument, so it is up there if anybody is really, really interested and looking to listen to the appellate arguments. Bob?
Thank you for bringing that up about the YouTube page.
Hi, I'm Cliff Cole. I live on Shoecraft Road. I know you all know me. First off, I'd like to say, in case you all didn't notice, but Christine and Company, and she'll be playing at the September Fest. Okay. Christine and her husband and Kathy Werbach and I are members of a group called Concerned Citizens for Clean Air, and as Christine stated, we are fighting the Adelphia the PADEP's license, clean air license for the Adelphia station. Kathy Werbach was not able to come tonight. She's not feeling well, but she wrote this letter to all of the supervisors. She copied it to Greg Lippincott and to a few other people. I'm going to read it if that's okay. Dear all, we were at the planning meeting this past Tuesday. She meant Tuesday a week. Why would the township allow Adelphia to make any adjustments to properties they purchased, which I assume was to weaken our fight against them? The representative kept insisting this proposal is to give existing 1+ acre lot an extra 10-acre buffer, which does not make sense. By the way, this property is adjacent to the Werbach's farm. Those properties, which does not make sense, those 2 properties in whole are buffers. I fear they are trying to make existing site larger for expansion or future expansion plans for them or someone else. In the township, if the township was fighting them, why would this township allow them to stick it to us, the residents, again? They made their bed by buying those properties. Don't let them recoup money by selling off anything or giving to the ability to expand. I reiterate that I am personally totally against the township making any concessions or transferring any property from West Rock Hill into Richland. Richland lets them do anything. We really appreciate the fact that the supervisors of West Rock Hill actually do something, and I know that you are, we used to be in the same case together.
I'd also like to read excerpts of a letter that I wrote to the editors of the Philadelphia Inquirer.
2.5 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, may I have the exemption to have
Did you
a little more?
have you submitted the paperwork?
This was submitted.
Can you summarize it?
Okay, I would just like to say that our appeal to the DEP is still active, and we have, as Christina stated, we've won at the Supreme Court, and we won at the Commonwealth Court, at the federal court level, and also the Third Circuit Supreme Court of Appeals have all ruled in our favor, and we expect the Supreme Court also. We have a website, Citizens for Clean Air, World Wide Web Citizens for Clean Air, and we have a GoFundMe. If any of the, $10, $15, $20 would really help us a lot, so thank you.
All right, and if you want to submit that through email, we can include that in the minutes, I guess.
Oh, okay, that'd be wonderful. And I really do appreciate you mentioning the YouTube video. We are the first on the docket of the first day of the session, so you don't have to sit through a lot. It's we're right there. And our lawyer, Michael, did an outstanding job of defending. Our taxpayers' money were paid to the DEP lawyer to fight against our township for this clean air permit, which really makes me mighty mad. And the actual state is fighting us as much as Adelphia is. So, thank you.
Recognize another. And name and address.
Debbie Rogers, 1307 Lawn Avenue. This is to the chief. Is he still here? I'd like some police presence on Lawn Avenue. We've had drivers come around the top of the corner above my house on 1307, and they've got it to the end of the road at Forest, and they're high rate of speed. They're not paying attention, and they are residential people that I cross the road to get my mail, and I know exactly, like, it's the same repeat offenders, and my driveway is available for you to have your car parked there, just to help them slow down. My biggest wish is to get speed bumps, which I've mentioned before. But I guess some lives have to be lost to be considered. Thank you.
Just where is 1307 Lawn in relation to
The airstrip
Yep, airstrip.
that they're developing on
Yep,
the farm right there.
Okay, yep.
They gun it right as they come around that corner there.
Okay, yep.
And tail it down at high. I mean, I would say they're going at 80 miles an hour when they pass my road, my driveway.
Okay. Mr. Cotton?
Thank you. Don Krell, Hemel. I just wanted to expand slightly on the report that Mr. Shermer gave, just to give you a short snapshot of where things are at with the pool. As he said, the staffing is going along quite well. We're fully staffed at this point. Almost all of our lifeguards from last year returned, which is a good sign. We'll have about 5 or 6 new lifeguards, but everybody else is experienced. Memberships is going very, very well. We've sold 119 memberships, representing over 300 individuals. As of compared to last year, this time, we're running about 30% ahead of where we were last year. So if that trend continues, and it's a big if, but if it does, we should have no trouble meeting our target of 450 memberships this year. The thing I really want to emphasize is that we have right now an incredibly strong base of dedicated volunteers and supporters. It's probably the largest base of supporters we've had in quite some time. We've got a good, strong group of probably close to 30 people or more. And some of the things they're doing are taking on some small projects. We have one volunteer who is working to provide us with new wood chips for our playground. Another volunteer is planning to provide the paint and help with painting the playground equipment. We're looking at possibly putting up a volleyball court. Another person is handling the repair of some of the items in the snack shop to get that ready. We have another volunteer who's here with us tonight, Mr. Buck, who helps out with the pool deck and many other things. We've also got a good, strong group, as you heard, ready for this work day. We had over 20, possibly 30 people signed up for that, 5 of them from the Key Club at the high school. So they are doing quite a bit. The fundraising, here's the bad news. We have mostly good news. There is some bad news. Fundraising is going well in terms of the Dine and Donates. They've brought in probably over $5,000. All told, we've had probably over $11,000 brought in from a combination of fundraising. The corporate sponsorship program is not going well, and I'll be
2.5 minutes are up.
I will donate time to Mr. Krafthandel. You're on the Borough Council?
Yes, I am.
I will allow a fellow member of
Thank you.
government to speak.
I'll just take another couple minutes. I'm basically done. So we have been bringing in a lot of money, but we need to continue to go after the larger corporate sponsors. The large donations that we were hoping for have not materialized. We're focusing now on the smaller businesses. There were 3 of us out going door to door today soliciting. We continue to place phone calls, and we'll continue to approach them. We do have, we brought in, I think, $2,000. We have another $2,000 that have been basically pledged, but we hope to expand that. Just a final snapshot, our bank balance right now is in the neighborhood of $60,000, and so far this year we've only had about $1,900 in expenses. So we're running pretty tight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Can I make a very quick comment? It's not unrelated to Adelphia.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I meant to say this very positive.
Cliff Cole, Shoecraft Road. I'd like to thank the supervisors in the township for how great a job the Shoecraft Road repair was done, or repaving. And but we'd also like to remind residents that have bamboo that when it snows, it gets into the way. And also, the chief is here. I spotted a truck on Allentown Road in the illegal place. I wasn't able to chase after him and get his license, but that's illegal. The trucks are not allowed to be on Allentown to go over the bridge.
That's not true.
Oh, did you change it?
No trucks over 45 feet.
Okay, no, I mean, it was a big rig.
Okay.
It was a big, I mean, I know that smaller trucks can go. I'm talking a big rig. It was like a big, 8, whatever you call them, sorry. Yeah, thank you.
18. Yep. Okay, 8:15. Do we have any other public comment?
I always still stand.
And come up and speak. Name and address.
Troy Felton, Washington Avenue. I offered to the Joint Rec. Yeah, I believe, Mr. Kaiser, you said that $7,000 is a lot of money for a water fountain. I proposed a water fountain. I don't even care. It doesn't have to be the one that I proposed to Don, and Hal was there too. As well, I'll buy it and I'll install it for free. My deal with that was no easements were signed for that development on Holiday House. That's all I wanted. I thought it was it's still on the table. Just putting it out. All right.
Recognized.
So Joe Swanee from Holiday House Road. I would just like to commend Hal and Don and the team on the Joint Recreation Committee. You guys do a fantastic job, okay? There's a lot of enthusiasm for the pool, but there's an opinion that the board here doesn't really want the pool, okay? So we gotta look to change that. okay? So I ask you to do that if you could, okay? Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Left side?
I guess I'll do one.
Okay. Well, name and address if you will.
Kelly Fox, 211 Haunted House Road. Just to follow up a little bit what you guys were saying about the access to that new development and only being able to have 2, now he wants to put 30 there, and now it's 3 stories and not, regular houses. But, he's not talking about making a wide road widen at all. And, if you ever go on Haunted House Road now, you have 2 cars, pretty much one's got to get off the road. So, 2 houses, 30 houses, like Joe said, I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Public comment, anyone else? Left side, right side, going once, going twice? Okay, no hands coming up, nobody standing up. We'll close public comment and I will then move for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.